Alright, this is quiz 6, study guide. Number 1. Find the value of each variable, round to the nearest tenth. That is a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. And 30, 60, 90 right triangle is called a special right triangle. And it has special rules that apply to it. So if the short leg, which is opposite the 30-degree angle, is 13, then the long leg, which is opposite the 60-degree angle, is 13 times the square root of 3. And in your calculator, you multiply 13 times the square root of 3. And let's see, that's 13. $22.5. So this piece right here is 22.5, and the hypotenuse is twice as long as the short legs. This hypotenuse is 26. So those are your 3 variables for number 1. Number 2, use the law of cosines to find the missing angle. Then solve the triangle round to the nearest tenth. Alright, so this is pretty complicated. But we did this yesterday. This is going to involve the law of cosines and the law of sine. And your triangle is ABC. If your triangle is ABC, that makes the sides lowercase a, lowercase b, and lowercase c. You can pick whichever angle you want to solve for first. You're going to use law of cosines to solve for an angle. So I'm going to solve for angle A first. So that means you would use the first formula that I gave you in your notes yesterday, which said A squared, 50 squared equals B squared plus C squared, 53 squared plus 69 squared, minus 2 times B times C, which is 53 times 69, times cosine of A. Okay, and now you're going to start doing these calculations. So 50 squared is 2500 equals 53x squared plus 69x squared equals 7570 minus 2 times 53 times 69, 7314 times cosine of A. Yeah. So then you're going to subtract 7570 from each side. So 2500 minus 7570, negative 5070, equals negative 7314 cosine of A. So now you divide both sides by negative 7314. And the negative 5070 is still in your calculator, so divided by negative 7314, 0.693. So 0.693 equals cosine of A. You're looking for an angle measure. If 0.693 equals cosine of A, you can push in your calculator second cosine, and that'll give you the angle measure, which is 46.1 degrees. Okay, so you're rounding to the nearest tenth. So angle A is 46.1 degrees. degrees. Now that you know angle B, you can use the law of sines. Now that you know angle A, you can use the law of sines to find angle B or angle C. So we're going to find angle B. So the setup here would be the sine of 46.1 over its opposite side, which is 50, equals the sine of angle B over 53. And you crisscross multiply, so 50 sine of B equals 53 sine 46.1. You can divide both sides by 50. The 50s cancel, and your sine of angle B is equal to 53 times sine 46. 38.125 divided by 50.763. And then you can push your second and sine button. 49.7. So B is equal to 49.7 degrees. So angle B is 49.7. And then you can find angle C by subtracting the two angles you know from 180. So take 180 minus 49.7 minus 46.1. 84.2 degrees. So those are the three angle measures in number 2. Number 3. Triangle ABC. You've got a leg that's 41, a leg that's 42, and an angle that's 39.4. Here's side A, and then here's side B and side C. Okay, so you can use the first formula that I gave you for law of cosines. And that formula said that A squared is equal to B squared. So that's 42 squared plus C squared, 41 squared, minus 2 times B times C, 42 times 41, times cosine of 39.4. Now, if you remember, this is just a straight calculator problem, so your A squared is equal to, you can type all of that in directly into the calculator. 42x squared plus 41x squared minus 2 times 42 times 41 times cosine 39.4. 783.706, and then you find the square root of each side, and A would be equal to 27.995, which would be 28. So this side A would be equal to 28. Now that you know all three sides of the triangle and one angle, you can do law of sines to find angle B, and then you could subtract from 180 to find angle C. So your next step is the same as the last problem. you're going to take sine of 39.4 over its opposite side, which is 28, and make it equal to the sine of angle B over its opposite side, which is 42. When you crisscross multiply, 28 sine of B equals 42 sine 39.4. And you can divide both sides by 28. So your sine of B is equal to 42 times sine 39.4 divided by 28. 0.952. Alright, and if the sine of B equals 0.952, then the measure of angle B is equal to, push second sine, 72.2 degrees. So angle B is 72.2 degrees. Angle C would be equal to 180 minus the two given angles, so 180 minus 72.2 minus 39.4, 68.4 degrees. All right, number 4. Use the law of sines to solve the triangle. Alright, law of sines, the sine of an angle over its opposite side. So sine of 16 over its opposite side, which is 51, equals sine of an angle, sine of 64, over its opposite side, which is lowercase b. There's your proportion. You can crisscross multiply now to solve for b. So sine 16 times b equals 51 times sine 64. And you can divide both sides by sine 16. Your sine 16s will cancel, and your b is equal to 51 times sine 64 divided by sine 16. And I got a really big number that... Anybody do that one? Okay, that's right. 166.3. 166.3. So B is equal to 166.3. So let's see, next you need side C or you need angle C. Alright, so let's do this. For that problem, where it says C, lowercase c equals, and then uppercase C equals, I want you guys to cross that out. Alright, we're going to leave that one at finding B. Only. Side B only. Using the law of sines. Number 5. Number 5 is another special right triangle. Number 5 is a 45, 45, 90 right triangle. In a right triangle, if one of the angles is 45 degrees, then the other angle is 45 degrees. If the hypotenuse is 24, then both of the legs are 24 divided by the square root of 2. So in your calculator, take 24 and divide it by the square root of 2. And you should get 16.97, which rounds to 17. So these sides are congruent, and they're both equal to 17. And number 6. A grid shows positions of a subway stop in your house. This has been on your last 3 or 4 quizzes, and I keep putting it on here because some of you guys are you're making some really careless mistakes on here, and hopefully you'll start paying a little more attention to your detail, because this should be an easier problem. You got your subway stop negatives at 6, -7. All right, 6, -7 is right here. Guys, the first number in a coordinate, the first value that you're given when you're given the coordinates of a point this is your x-axis. This is your x and this is your y. This is your y-axis. This first letter in the parentheses is an x value, and it corresponds to the horizontal number line. The second value is a y value. That's your vertical number line. 6, -7 is right here. The other point is at 8, -1. Okay? So 8, -1 would be right here. There's 8, -1. There's 6, -7. You're going to connect those 2 points. And then you're going to turn that into a right triangle. You're going to go vertical until you're perpendicular from the second point, and then you're going to go horizontal, and you're creating a right triangle, and this is your right angle. The question is to find the distance between the subway stop and your house. You're trying to find the hypotenuse of a right triangle. So if this point is at 8, -1, and this point is at 6, -7, and x is your horizontal axis, when you compare your x's, you need the difference between 8 and 6. So this piece of the triangle is 2. Your vertical difference is the difference between -7 and -1, which is 6 units. Okay? There's your triangle, and you need the third side of a right triangle. So you can do the Pythagorean theorem. 6 squared plus 2 squared equals the hypotenuse squared. So 36 plus 4 equals your c squared. So 40 equals your c squared. And the square root of 40 in your calculator is 6.3. All right, does anybody have any questions from that study guide?